Hello everybody, this is Shobhit. So guys, today we will talk about authentication and authorization, and this is a running code which I will demonstrate you. And so with the help of this code you will get an idea what are the components in which file you need to change to achieve this functionality in your program, right? So this is something I have created for you. So I have created a sample demo application. So this is a web application, web API of .NET Core 5.1. So inside I have created a controller. This is a weather forecast controller. So basically I'm using a basic template of weather forecast controller, right? So inside this method of the controller I want authorization. So initially authorization was not there, so I have implemented the authorization. So for authorization purpose, what you want, you just need to put an authorized attribute over here. So this is the very first thing you need to do. So once you put this authorized attribute, it will ask for a policy, which type of policy you want. So you can also say that this is some sort of role you can pass over here. So as I'm saying that this is an API key, whatever the name you want to give, you can give. So this is the policy which you want to use on this authorized keyword, right? So this is the very first thing. So wherever you want an authorization, you just need to put this authorized attribute over there. So again, further inside the startup.cs file we need some changes. So the very first changes is you just need to use the use authentication middleware inside this configure method. So this is important, and one thing you need to notice over there, so it should be before the authorization. So first authentication would be done, then authorization will be will work. Okay, so these are the changes inside this configure method. There are few other changes which we need inside this configure service method. So the very first changes is regarding the authentication. So in the authentication we need to add an authentication, and this is the basically the scheme we want. So scheme, you can specify any name over here. So I'm saying this is a basic authentication. So whatever the name you want to give, you can give. So it will ask for two classes. The one is the option classes. The option class is used to provide some static data, some sort of options, configurational data. So with the help of this class you can get the data. And another is the handler classes. So you need to create another class for the basic authentication handler. So whatever the name you want to give, you can give any name of this class, and here the name of the scheme, and the callback should be null. So I don't want anything, right? So I'll go one by one of these classes. So since I don't have anything of these options, so I just created a class, and inside this class inherited by authentication scheme option. So there is nothing in this class, so I just created it and pass it. And another class is regarding the basic authentication handler. So this is the main class which we want, because all our authentication logic would come over here. So the very first thing we need to take care is this class should inherit from authentication handler, and inside the authentication handler we need to pass a configuration class which we have created earlier. Another thing we need to take care is, since we need to call the constructor of this class, so the constructor of this class will ask so many parameter. So I option monitor of the configuration options class which I have created, the ilogger factory, and the URL encoder, and the isystem clock. So why we need this classes? Because here we need to pass this options logger encoder in the base type of this class. So that's why we want that, otherwise you will not be able to create an object. Another thing is, since this class is inherited from authentication handler, so authentication handler class contain and handler authenticate async method. So we need to override this method, and whenever you will call any controller or anything, so this handle authenticate async method will call, and here you will provide all the logic. So whatever the logic you want, you need to put over here. So I'll give one by one what it is containing. So first it will check for the authorization header. So if there is no authorization header, then it will just say no result, right? So authentication will fail. So here I'll put a check if request.header contain test. If the authorization will contain test, then in that case we need to create a claim, and the claim will contain the name of the user, the test user, and the role. So I'm saying that I am passing a role of administrator. Okay, so if that user, then we need to add a role as administrator over here, and after that we need to create an identity, and the identity, after that we need to create a principal. So principal will contain the list of identities, and further principal we need to pass into the authentication ticket. So this is the class which will give me authentication ticket. So further in the authentication result dot success method, we need to pass this ticket, and if nothing will work, then I just need to call the no result. So it means authentication is failed. So these are the logic which I put. So what I am doing over here, I just need to check for the authorization header, and if test is there, then it will pass, otherwise it will fail. So these are the logic which I have written, and so these are the changes which I did. Another changes is related to the authorization. So inside this startup.cs, so we have also specified that authorization, right? Add authorization. So what I'm saying is, whenever we pass an API key policy, right? So here inside the weather forecast controller, I am passing a policy name as API key. So whenever we will pass this API policy, so this logic will come into the picture. So whenever we have API key, then it will require for the rules of administrator. So if role is administrator, then it is okay, otherwise it will give you an error, authentication error 401, it will return, right? So few things I have hard coded, so I'll go back, and so these are the things which I have hard coded claims. So in your application, it would come under the from it will come from any database or whatever, right? But this is hard coded as of now. So with the help of this, I'm just running this application. So let me quickly run this application and demonstrate you. So here this is the local host, and here I am passing the authorization as a test. So whenever I pass test and click on send, so you can see over here the data is coming, and if I change the value of test to anything and click on send, then in that case you will see the unauthorized status code is unauthorized. So these are the small implementation which I have created. So if you want anything, you can call me, I will share this POC to you. So that's all from my side. Thanks.